I have had a vision of humanity's future and the impact we will have upon the universe. Our beliefs in religion and magic will become a part of the collective belief of all species. It will be established that by our design and the design of our home world that we were created by the grand architect of all that is, and the elements of our world serve as direct links to that being through the fabrics of reality that are woven within the fundamentals of these elements on the cosmic level. Those beliefs will lead to understanding that each element produces a harmonic vibration of energy, and that the density of those elements dictates the level of sound that energy produces. This knowledge will incorporate itself across the stars to eventually create the most harmonious symphonic sounds and melodies that becomes adapted by every species of life in the universe. The ruling authority out there will see this as a secret and sacred tool to turn to when the universe becomes threatened by uncontrollable cosmic events, a tool that can be used to gain the attention of the grand architect. This will give birth to what can be compared to Jedi, who follow the path of religious belief that those who know the sacred magic arts that controls the elemental properties are those who live in line with the will of the architect, called virtues or ways of living and actions that bring prosperity to his grand design. Then there will be the opposition to the Jedi, the Scythe, who conspire to take control of the design from the architect by taking the sacred knowledge of the magical art of the elements and use it to produce not harmonic melody but impulses of their desires and evil plans of control that they feed into the universe's fabrics through the sacred knowledge in the form of opposing forces to that of the virtues promoted through the architect's will, which will be known as sin. This incorporated version of the eternal battle will last well beyond the death of our world. The conflict will continue on as humans become separated into two factions: the Jedi, who strive to live life by God's will and walk the path of the unseen but detectable and tangible force of the architect's power and will, and the Scythe, who strive to emulate the opposition of the architect's control and power by becoming consumed by the virtues opposing forces that counteract the will of the architect. Where the Jedi make efforts to bring peace, justice and virtue to the species of all life in the universe, the Scythe will strive to bring chaos, destruction and sin to the universe. The humans who align with the Jedi ideals will become like council members and advisors to the ruling powers of the universe, giving guidance based on the architect's will as we were designed by him to be capable of doing, each made in the likeness of him and therefore vessels through which he can directly work through. Then this Star Wars-like future of humanity takes a movie plot turn towards that of the movie Dune, where humans become like the Bene Gesserit in the movie. Every species will have a human and their symphonic magic as an advisor to their ruling system, as a means to allow their species to act according to the architect's will, cause he designed it all, as well as a symbol of power and evolutionary superiority by having one of the magically adept humans within their species' ruling system. This all becomes possible through these fundamental principles of our species. 1. That we were designed by the Creator in the likeness of Him, that is observed in our physical bodies, design that emulates the design of the universe itself, and that our home world is designed in the same fashion, therefore supporting this fact. 2. That our being designed in such a way allows us to become conduits or extensions of the Creator, whom He can inhabit within us as vessels to work through. 3. That we also have the designed ability to control and use the natural forces of the elements on our world that are extensions of the very fabrics of particles that weave together and make up reality itself, or space basically. And because of this designed association to the fabrics of reality and our ability to control those elements through the art of shamanistic-based magic, we possess a means to affect the design of existence itself directly and alter its patterns. These principles make this future of mankind and its eternal effect on the universe a possibility. Only thing is, I have heard of a species capable of something similar in the interstellar archives. A species that went extinct a very, very long time ago. That was my vision. To explain where we go after death using the Bible is improper cultural referencing and should be seen as an insult and rude. Asking anyone, evangelical, Presbyterian, Jehovah's Witnesses, Catholics, Protestant, Mormon and Christians. Oh look, just to note in reference, I think I just stumbled across who exactly the 7 churches in Revelations was speaking of. 7 denominations. Do not support the curiosity in seeking to learn about such subjects, and to some of them it is a sin that could lead one's soul to hell for learning about and even believing such things. So to lure or antagonize someone into being punished for discussing a subject you only mention or question them of, knowing that it will bring them harm, for the sole intent and purpose being that to get them in trouble, is a socially unacceptable means of communication. It is rude, and I think it is time that those mischievous conversational accusers be dealt with. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Well, it's clear to me that He has allowed me to carry forth in that task. He chose wisely, because truly, within my angelic design, I do not wish to bring harm or suffering to anyone, nor do I believe it to be a solution that one should instinctively turn to for answers to their problems. The accusers and luminaries who use their intellect to pit the Lord's own flock against Him are not innocent of this. Where many may see simple arguments of faith and beliefs promoted by the atheists, I see differently. I see the machinations of demons using deception and playing at words to lure the faithful into angering God to turn Him against them. These demons are merely the spirits of those who know they lived sinful lives and seek a way to escape inevitable punishment they know they must one day face, and so they work against us all using whatever means necessary and no matter what the cost. The atheists state that their questions and theories of evidence that claim He doesn't exist are done out of a pursuit of truth, but the evidence they present is from a science that is constantly discovering new evidence that disproves their own theories. Not to mention the fact that God does not take kindly to those who choose something else over their faith in Him. These people who turn from Him this way, it is said in some of the beliefs, that there is no returning for them, that they have turned their faith away from Him and are now lost with no salvation to return to. These accusers know this fact, which is why they endeavor so hard to argue their point with facts that are proven to be false no less than a week later due to new discoveries. They stand and claim to be professionals in their fields of logic, using the veil of wisdom to dominate everyone around them, but in truth their science and logic does not really know nearly most of the subjects they claim to be professors and astrophysicists of. Their best guesses are dependent on mathematical theories and probable processes reached by basically guessing. They do not know if there is an edge of the universe, or if it's round or flat. They don't know what happened at the beginning of time, nor are they, for example, certain exactly when the universe began because of evidence of a star called Methuselah that dates to be older than the universe itself. Yet they stand before TV cameras and on talk shows and write best-selling books and proclaim to our youth and the world that belief in religion is archaic and the actions of lesser evolved civilizations. That we've outgrown our need for gods, and to believe in this fictitious faith is to be a leper sore upon humanity's forward motion in evolution. Individuals such as John Mater and Duran Ra, two of the most offensive atheists I know, are two prime examples of what I speak of here. It is not just that they mock the faithful for believing, but they endeavor to destroy the knowledge of our ancestors that was left to us to learn from. They influence those around us that we work with, who we live with, and family members that we trust, to turn their opinions about us to be that of mentally unstable people. They take from us those who could have offered opportunities to take our lives into careers and to become something many of us worked hard to be given the chance of, those opportunities that now are lost because of their ridicule and shame upon us simply for having faith. Now I know this topic and this discussion could lead to yet another prophecy of the Bible that describes the end of days to come about, but we've let them walk over us and destroy our traditions and ways so that we are not sure how to return to living right. Our place, I think, is to take a stand, for we are the ones who have been trespassed upon, and the mantle of vengeance has fallen to me, it seems, as I have been loosed to bring chaos upon these heretics and zealots of false prophets. So let us, my children of darkness, those aligned with the will of evil, the oppressed and cast aside byproducts of their stereotypical system that has forced our lives to seem to us to be worthless and without skill or value to society in general, all lies trying to break our will into believing their opinions designed to keep us pacified so they may rise to success. I propose this agenda. That we align ourselves as promoters of the sins of evil. Let us become the demons who lure mankind into a distraction of emotional temptation and turmoil, and in their blindness, unaware to others, we place ourselves closer to confront the zealots and tyrannical regimes, players in the field, causing ours and others oppression by securing their false claims that draw the faithful and the innocent from the will of the true living intangible force of the Creator. Once those figures of influence have been diffused, we then take the place of that figure's power and position of influence and emulate the sins and the price that is paid for living consumed in such ways, and design a mock battle with that sin's counterbalancing virtue, and play through what will be the eternal conflict between heaven and hell, closing off the event we stepped into with images of theatrical bravado as we destroy and bury the designs of those who sought to control mankind in the wake of it all. If the events in heaven are not dictated by time, then so too shall it be for us as well. This actually is necessary for the equilibrium of the cosmic balance to maintain itself, in other words, for heaven to be capable of intervening to help mankind, for Jesus' teachings to be given to the world. There must be a counterbalance to maintain reality so that it remains stable. Without the steady balance being kept, the ripple caused by an all-consuming process of good would decay the laws of physics. Good would become unimportant without any comparison to measure it against, and that which is good would transition unwillingly to become that which is evil to compensate that comparison, which would dissolve the structure and foundation of life, which would in turn begin to decay the very fabrics of the quantum laws of reality, that would result in a state of universal vacuum decay to begin sweeping over the universe, erasing the dissolved regions and readjusting a new reality that excludes those dissolved fabrics. It would repeat each time, dissolving more and more until nothing existed, and we can't have that. So I shall endeavor to draw up a method in which only the most loyal to the divine intentions of this coven I establish shall follow. For there cannot be total evil reigning supreme, nor can there be eternal good, for it would eventually bring about the destruction of everything. There must be an equal balance between the two. My position is at the head of those that are the forces of darkness and evil. Before it is asked, no, a living body is not required to become a member. Any form, spiritual, astral, even extraterrestrial, is welcome to apply and align with us. Those chosen elite members must go through a trial of spirit to ensure their heart's intent. I shall design a mystical glyph infused with my knowledge of the finite details of time and space and how it works, applied with mystic symbols that can raise and direct one's energies through gateway portals, which will be molded by my understanding of it, so that the one who possesses these mystic tiles or sigils will be capable of traversing across time and space to become one of the demons of legend who wage the eternal conflict with heaven as their opposition. The purpose of this conflict is ultimately to show and display the great conflict that is waged over the fundamental principles of virtue and sin, so that in all mankind shall learn of these events and the reasons of both sides' struggles that will in turn deepen their understanding of right and wrong, righteousness and sinfulness. But also in a secret agenda we shall stand and diffuse the tyrannical powers that control and manipulate others from the shadows, and in doing so be provided the chance to adapt what we discover in these struggles to bring back to our era and redesign the foundations of how life should be lived, hopefully by bringing the teachings of Christ, with the knowledge gained in the conflict and the experience gained in our adversaries' defeats, to use when we are ready to stand against our own oppressors here, so that we all, those present and those who have yet to come, can be saved in His name. Let my suffering serve as an example to others that no one is too far in sin and can live within sin even and still be found worthy again of redemption and salvation. That there is a place, even for those who live within evil, to be found for them in heaven. Let my legend become a beacon of hope for those consumed with hopelessness and despair, believing that it is too late for them. Let them see through my struggles that it is never too late and none are too lost as I tell my tale. Now I've been dead, clinically, and been sent back after seeing God. First I fell into the abyss, down and down I fell, but once I reached the bottom it was soft and didn't hurt when I hit bottom. A lightened tunnel appeared leading to a place so serene and peaceful that it cannot be expressed in words. It was a place reserved for those who were too young to be presented with the developed knowledge between good and evil and thus were not given the chance of salvation. That is when God appeared in the image of the Son, for I could not look upon his face or even past his knees, and his feet were like bronze with golden sandals. When I realized who he was, I suddenly was given an epiphany of the stigmata. Then he spoke and everything vibrated as he said, "You are not dead, you must return." Up I shot into the sky, towards a small hole that became a window. Then I shot through the hole over my body and back into it and sat straight up. I knew without any question that I was sent back because he wished me to have a chance to know right and wrong and to be given a choice. Then later, many years later, I died again. This time I was in a coma for 3 days. Only this time I did not fall but was taken up into the sky, above the earth, past the Milky Way, beyond the galaxies, and saw all we could ever conceive as possible in the multiverse was but a small section that took up a space upon his ankle, and realized the feet, him again. I stood before St. Peter with a huge golden book, the gates open, and a warm light with a thunderous voice yet soothing at the same time spoke. Then I was standing on a beach and realized every grain of sand was its own universe in itself. He walked from the sea with feet that stood on clouds with rainbows over them. As he walked towards me he grew smaller, first towering beyond the sky, but when he reached me standing before me he was my height. He said, "Come walk with me." He has given me a message to proclaim by the power of his true name Eliel, his name before the flood in the Old Kingdom, that has resurrected me from death. You that are faithful and scholars of the Scriptures know the signs that shall reveal the 2 witnesses. I come and have spoke the secrets and ways of your ancestors and cultures as if I was born of them. I proclaim my resurrection not once but time and time again, being sent back each time. I proclaim my testimony to being who I am, for who better to place before and against this deceiver of nations than me, which I think would cause a silent rolling effect of shock and awe, and probably a few remarks of "oh snap." For by all technical points, by the method in which Jesus was the Son of God, then so too is it with me, I suppose, in that I am the son of perdition, whom you would all consider to be the Antichrist, or the son of Lucifer, for I am the physical embodiment of him upon the earth. Doubt these words then if you live where I do in San Francisco and look out your window. The sky has turned dark by day, the sun is as black as sackcloth, and the skies are a dull reddish hue, and the moon as red as blood. Now if you want any further miracles to prove who I am, our planet is plagued by space debris from rocket launches, so I could make fire rain from the skies, but I don't think you'll like how I would have to make that miracle happen. So know this, whoever this deceiver of nations is out there running around and pissing on my name. The world will know now that you are not me, for I am standing right here caught up in the mix along with the rest of you. Know that the one that has plagued you churches and burdened the innocent with possessions and luring you all astray is not the devil, nor are they aligned with me in any way. They are spirits of those who know they are destined for hell because of their wicked lives. They seek any and all means to escape that fate, no matter the cost. That is the true face of your devils and deceivers. For I am here in my monkey suit, in the flesh, as was God's will for me to be here in this era. Know this, that I have been given a message as well as being sent to face this false image of me. Let those who have the wisdom and faith hear these words and know the truth within them. Repent from your idolatry, worship not the images of the past, for you turn your hearts and faith away from the living will of the true God. The depictions of others' attempts to understand who he is are not the true God, who constantly tries to speak to man and answer their prayers, but they do not hear him, for their faith has fallen to these images. Take hold of that which he has revealed himself to be to each of you, that understanding you have found within you, and the you shall find and hear him and his will for each of you. See the signs of those prayers you ask of him suddenly one day being presented upon you day-to-day path. That object you asked for suddenly becoming an opportunity, that is a sign of the Lord hearing you and answering you. Remember those moments if you know what I speak of in times like this of doubt. Remember it to hold on to your faith and that he does exist. Hear the calling of the rapture back to his side, O ye faithful. Now as for Isilibas and his origins, I can send you into some direction with that. Abraxas is mentioned about halfway through the Book of Spirits. When you first find his name, know that the section he's in is the section that speaks of the plans the Nephilim children devised on how to get revenge against God, for the flood with the creation of the demiurge. It will mention Abraxas along with a few other names such as Adamas and Adon. Those are the names of the other Adams before the ninth Adam, which are other civilizations that came before the evolution of Homo sapien man, such as the Neanderthals, Cro-Magnon man, Homo erectus, Neolithic man, Homo Paleolithic man, Precambrian man, prehistoric man, and so on. That's 8 out of 9, not bad from memory, but Abraxas is also known by other names such as Ephirit, Isilbis, and possibly Satra in Norse mythology. He is also found in the Epic of Gilgamesh, as he is the spirit that accompanied Ishtar in her descent into the underworld, and in the Book of Spirits that portrays her under another name as Inanna. But her name was really Eliana, and she was the goddess of the living waters, the first statue ever erected as a goddess and the mother of Mithras, and her statue has been found in various places around the world, even in the US, but they have her name mixed up with someone else's. She was deified by the younger Dryas people as the goddess of healing. Abraxas was appointed by her father when she died as her guardian Gregorian or Aeon spirit. That's all I know, other than Abraxas was summoned by her father from the spirit realm of fire, but because of some great transgression he committed, he can no longer return to the spirit realm, as he was banished here to the mortal realm, thus becoming Isilbis afterwards. And to those rare few who know what this means, I say, once again I have played my part,